Jerusalem. The very name evokes a sense of awe, reverence, and longing. For millennia, this ancient city has stood at the heart of three major world religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The echoes of prayers, chants, and hymns from countless generations still seem to reverberate within its walls. Jerusalem is a tapestry woven with threads of history, faith, and conflict. For Jews, it is the site of the Temple Mount, the holiest place in Judaism, and the ancient capital of King David. Christians revere it as the city where Jesus walked, preached, and ultimately was crucified and resurrected. Muslims hold dear the Al-Aqsa Mosque, Islam's third holiest site, believing the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven from this very spot. But Jerusalem's significance extends beyond its spiritual dimensions. It is a city claimed by two peoples, Israelis and Palestinians, each with deep historical and emotional connections to this land. This struggle for Jerusalem for recognition for a future lies at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. However, this conflict is further complicated by the concept of Greater Israel, a notion that has sparked debate and fueled tensions for decades. This idea, with roots in ancient scripture and modern politics, proposes a Jewish state extending far beyond the borders of present-day Israel. Today we delve into the origins, the implications, and the realities of Greater Israel. Is it a myth, a movement, or a geopolitical reality shaping the future of the Middle East? The seeds of Greater Israel are often traced back to the Hebrew Bible, to the very concept of the Promised Land. In the book of Genesis, God promises Abraham and his descendants a land flowing with milk and honey, a land stretching from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates. These biblical verses have resonated through centuries of Jewish history, particularly during times of exile and persecution. They have served as a source of hope, a promise of eventual return to a homeland. It's crucial to understand that the interpretation and application of these biblical passages remain a point of contention. Some groups within Israel view them as a divine mandate for territorial expansion, a justification for establishing Jewish sovereignty over a significantly larger area. This interpretation, however, is not universally accepted within Judaism, and many scholars argue for a more nuanced understanding of these ancient texts. Critics argue that interpreting these passages literally ignores their historical and literary context. They emphasize that these verses should be understood within the framework of ancient covenants and promises, not as a blueprint for modern-day geopolitical borders. The debate over the Promised Land and its implications for a Greater Israel therefore remains a sensitive and multifaceted issue, intertwined with religious beliefs, political ideologies, and historical narratives. Fast forward to the 19th century, a period marked by growing anti-Semitism in Europe. The idea of a Jewish homeland, a safe haven from persecution, began to take root in the form of Zionism. Zionism, a Jewish nationalist movement, sought to establish a Jewish state in Palestine, then part of the Ottoman Empire. While early Zionists envisioned a state in their ancestral homeland, the specific borders of this future state remained a subject of debate. Some Zionist thinkers, inspired by the biblical descriptions of the Promised Land, advocated for a Jewish state encompassing a vast territory. Others, however, adopted a more pragmatic approach, focusing on securing a smaller, more achievable territory in Palestine. This internal debate within Zionism regarding the scope and borders of a future Jewish state would have lasting consequences. Theodor Herzl, considered the father of modern political Zionism, envisioned a Jewish state as a haven from anti-Semitism and a model of modernity and progress. He believed in the importance of international recognition and support for the Zionist project. However, even as Zionism gained momentum, the question of Greater Israel remained largely on the fringes of the movement, overshadowed by the more immediate goal of establishing a Jewish state in any form. The tumultuous events of the 20th century, from the horrors of the Holocaust to the dismantling of colonial empires, profoundly impacted the Middle East. In 1948, after decades of Zionist efforts and following the UN partition plan for Palestine, the State of Israel was declared. This declaration, however, ignited the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, a conflict that would forever alter the demographic and political landscape of the region. Israel emerged victorious, expanding its territory beyond the borders designated in the UN partition plan. This victory, however, came at a heavy price. The war displaced hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, creating a refugee crisis that continues to reverberate today. The 1948 war solidified Israel's existence but also sowed the seeds of future conflicts. The 1967 Six-Day War further complicated the situation. Israel's decisive victory in this conflict resulted in its capture of the West Bank, East Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip, the Golan Heights, and the Sinai Peninsula. This victory, while viewed as essential for Israeli security by many, also reignited the debate over Greater Israel. The acquisition of these territories, some argued, presented an opportunity to realize the long-held aspirations of establishing a Jewish state encompassing the biblical Promised Land. This perspective, however, ignored the aspirations of the Palestinians living in these newly occupied territories. So, let's delve into the concept of a Greater Israel. This idea, which has roots in various historical and religious texts, envisions a state that extends beyond its current borders. Advocates argue that this expansion is necessary for security and fulfilling a historical promise. However, opponents raise concerns about the implications for regional stability and the rights of existing populations. It's a topic of significant debate, and understanding both perspectives is crucial for a comprehensive view. International law plays a crucial role in understanding the Palestinian perspective. It offers a framework for addressing issues of sovereignty, human rights, and territorial disputes. The Palestinians view international law as a means to legitimize their claims and seek justice on the global stage. This perspective is rooted in historical grievances and ongoing conflicts. By invoking international law, Palestinians aim to garner international support and pressure Israel to comply with global norms. Israeli politics is complex and multifaceted, shaped by a variety of internal and external factors. The political landscape is influenced by security concerns, economic conditions, and social dynamics. Parties across the political spectrum offer differing viewpoints on the future of the region and the peace process. Understanding Israeli politics requires a deep dive into its electoral system, key political figures, and the role of public opinion. This intricate web of factors makes Israeli politics a critical component in the broader Middle Eastern context. The concept of Greater Israel has significant implications for the Middle East. It affects regional geopolitics, alliances, and conflicts. The idea encompasses territorial expansion and has historical, religious, and political dimensions. Its impact is felt in neighboring countries, influencing their policies and relations with Israel. The pursuit of Greater Israel can lead to heightened tensions and instability in the region. Understanding this concept is essential for grasping the broader dynamics at play in the Middle East. As we look ahead, the question remains, is Greater Israel a myth, a movement, or a reality? This concept continues to evolve, shaped by political developments, societal changes, and international reactions. The future of Greater Israel will depend on various factors, including diplomatic efforts, regional cooperation, and the aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians. By examining the past and present, we can gain insights into what the future may hold for this contentious and complex issue.